So, if you follow me on Instagram, you knew this video was coming. So if you're new here, which I think we've been over, most of you are, I have this series on my channel where I just talk about my OCs, and I try and get one of those videos out every single month. And this month is Rory, who is Luca's twin sister, in case you couldn't tell, because they look similar, because they're twins. But anyway, as always, these videos are going to be structured as like general information first, and then like a brief summary of the story and how she fits in there, and then I answer questions that you guys ask on Instagram, and it's a fun time. Starting with the basic stuff, her full name is Rory Gianetto. She is Luca's twin sister, so she is also 18 years old. She is female. She's an ambivert, so she's kind of like a mix of both an introvert and an extrovert. And then she is an athlete, and she's always really liked sports and stuff, and she's actually a part of a soccer team. She kind of seems intimidating to most people at first, because most people kind of just think that she's like kind of like a asshole athlete, like a jerky jock who just like hates everyone, but she's actually like super sweet. That kind of comes from the fact that she, when is with close friends, is like kind of loud and can be a little obnoxious, and so people tend to not gravitate towards her. But she's actually a really friendly and like protective and caring person towards like the people that like she loves. And then she actually kind of helps Andy with like their more feminine side. Because if you missed Andy's video, Andy is non-binary and they were born male, but their family is like not the most supportive of that, and so Rory kind of helps them come to terms with their feminine side and like express it. And it's so pure and I love them. Rory lives with Luca, of course, and then their mother. Luca is her only sibling, and then they're very, very close. They're like joint at the hip. And then she's not exactly distant with her mother, but they're not like the closest, and their relationship is for both Luca and Rory, because I don't think I mentioned that in Luca's video. But yeah, it's not that they're on like bad terms or anything, because they do like get along and stuff. They're just like not super close, like they're comfortable around each other. I don't know how to explain this. Hopefully I got my point across. She kind of wants to be like the strong protector of the family, because like their dad isn't around, in case you didn't figure that out. And so she kind of wants to like the stereotypical like dad role, where it's like the strong protecting provider of the family. Rory kind of wants to step up and try and be that role a little bit. She kind of worries other people because she can go a little bit overboard in trying to like keep people safe, and like she's always trying to like do things on her own as kind of a way to protect others. She's not the best with like she can be a little, what's the word? I guess what I'm trying to say is like whenever she's going through any sort of hardship, instead of like trying to get help from others, she kind of just pretends that everything is fine and kind of goes her own way, and still tries to, while also like trying to protect other people, because like she doesn't really want to like bring them into her problems, because that's kind of what she sees it as. Like whenever she talks about any sort of like negativity in her life, she feels as though she's being like a little bit selfish, and so she tends to avoid that. So, like I did in the Luca video, I'm not going to talk about the story too much. I think the most in-depth explanation was in Andy's video. So if that's something you're interested in, then you could watch that video, but I'm still going to give like a brief summary just for the sake of context. So, they live in a town where they're kind of like a little bit isolated, and their town is kind of run by corrupt politicians, and then for reasons I have yet to disclose, the politicians' true motives kind of like come out, and then like everyone, well not everyone, but like kind of a small group of people is motivated to stop them from fucking up the game. So yeah, the person who actually motivates the small group of people to like step up is Rory, and she's a bit of like a leader in the movement, and she kind of like, you know, one big thing about her character, unsurprisingly, is that she wants to like protect people, and then like that's kind of her big thing, is that like she wants to make sure that everyone that she cares for is safe. And the fact that she's kind of bringing people into this movement kind of contradicts with the fact that she wants to protect them and keep them safe, which is like, you know, weird. But I promise that there's a reason. I just can't really talk about the reason because I don't want to spoil anything. I'm gonna be a little bit of a butt face and keep some secrets, but so yeah, that's the deal with her. Pretty much she just inspires everybody by sharing her desire to protect and makes other people want to protect as well. How many times have I said protect in this video? And so now is the time where I go and answer some questions from Instagram that these were asked by you guys. So if you want one of your questions to possibly be answered in the next video, who's the next character? Sawyer. That's fun. Spoiler alert. Yeah, it's Sawyer. Although, you know, you guys could have probably guessed that he's going to be coming eventually. Anyway, that was a tangent. If you want one of your questions to possibly be answered in a future video, go follow me on Instagram and keep an eye out for that post. These videos are coming out like about every month-ish, around that, so that's how long it would take me to like make a post about this. And for the Andy and Luca video, I was able to answer every single question because I had less followers now that like my accounts sort of blew up. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to answer every single question because now there's so many questions now. There's like over 100 questions, which was the most questions that I've ever gotten, clearly. So I'm sorry if your question isn't answered, but I read through all of them and just know that like I would answer every single one if I had the ability to. So, all that aside, let's continue. The first question is ice cream cake or cookie cake, which was actually a question asked in the Luca video, so I guess it's only fitting that I put it here too. Rory prefers ice cream cake. I actually forgot what I said Luca prefers, so there we go. Rory prefers ice cream cake. What would be her dream date? She would either want, like, a picnic, because she really likes picnics due to, like, you know, previous memories of picnics. Or going to see some sort of sporting event, because she's sporty. She's been an athlete, like, her entire life. Ever since she was a little kid, she's just always been interested in, like, physical activity. And soccer is her favorite sport, which is why she's a part of a soccer team. But she also just enjoys, like, working out and stuff. So, any sort of, like, physical activity that they can do together would be great for her. What is her sexuality? She is bisexual. She doesn't really have a preference between, like, boys or girls. She's just kind of, like, you know, living her best bi life. How did she meet Andy? She met Andy because they have a similar class at school where her, Luca, and Andy are all in the same class for one class. And then they were doing kind of like this group project, well, because it was assigned, and then Andy wanted to just kind of like be on their own, but then like Rory noticed that in being the sweet, lovely woman she is, kind of invited Andy to join them. And at first, Andy was just kind of, like, not happy with it. They were just gonna do the project and then have that be that. But then, like, eventually, like, they just kind of became, like, a little trio. Quite a few people asked, what is her take on Andy and Luca? She thinks that they are lovely friends because they're not dating. They're not dating, so she thinks that they're great friends. What is her favorite memory? When she was in middle school, she was in gym and Sawyer was in the gym class with her, and then she kicked a soccer ball and it hit him in the face. So, they don't get along very well. How is she when she's angry? Well, she's, what's the word? Awful. She's kind of like, she doesn't listen to reason when she's angry, and normally she's a pretty selfless person, and is like very protective of like the people that she cares about. But if you really make her angry, she becomes like the complete opposite. Like she becomes like much more selfish, and she doesn't like really care if she hurts you. And then she's a little, her anger's a little uncontrollable. Like once she's heated, she can't stop. So, don't make her angry. She also gets kind of like low-key petty, so. Who is she closest to? There are, out of the entire cast of characters, there are 3 characters that she is closest to, and in that order from closest to not as close are Luca, Mabel, and Andy. Even though, like, they have different kind of levels of how close they are, she's still, like, very close with all of them and loves them dearly. Has she ever cut her hair? She hasn't. She has had, like, she's gotten into some pretty heated debates about her hair, because, like, you know, she's an athlete, and so it would probably make sense for her to, like, cut her hair to something shorter so it can make being physically active a little bit easier, but she just was so attached to her hair. That's not the question. Does she have any pets? She does. She has a pet rat named Abraham. He's a sweet boy. Somebody asked if she was a cat or a dog person. The answer is a rat person. Is there any specific inspiration for her design, and how did you come up with her name? So for her design, it's literally just because I, for some reason, really wanted Luca to have a twin sister. Like, I designed Luca because, like, Andy, for the not for the longest time, but for a few months after designing them, they were the only character, like, in this sort of universe, and I wanted them to have a friend because I loved them so much, and so I made Luca. And then for some reason that I could not give you because I don't understand it myself, when I was designing him, I just really wanted him to have a twin sister. And that's literally the only reason she exists. As for her name, for the longest time, I've actually really liked the name Rory for a girl, because I read a book. If you're, like, around the age of, like, 12, or, like, you know, just that general age, I would recommend reading it. I think it's called 13 Gifts, but I think that's what it's called. I'll do some research and then I'll edit some stuff here if I'm right or wrong. But I remember really enjoying that book. It was one of my favorite books for the longest time. And in that book, there's a character named Rory, and she's a girl, and I just thought that that was, like, the coolest name for a girl. And so, for the longest time, I just really liked it. But I never had a character who was a girl and named Rory. And so when I made her, I just decided to take that opportunity. What line describes her best?
Don't fuck with me! I have the power of God and anime on my side! Wait,
I love Vine. What is her zodiac sign? This also applies to Luca, because, you know, they're twins. That's how twins work. Her birthday and Luca's birthday is August 13th, which makes them a Leo. Does she ever find her long hair inconvenient or annoying? Sometimes she does, but like I said before, she's, like, too attached to cut it. I feel like anybody with long hair finds it just annoying at some point, regardless of they love it or hate it. So yeah, it can be annoying sometimes, but she just refuses to cut it because she loves it. What is her favorite sibling activity to do with Luca? They love going to the movies. Like, they really like movie stuff, so that you can find them at the movies quite often. I wasn't going to answer this question, but so many people were asking this. I don't know why you guys think that this is, like, the most important question to ever ask anybody, but people want to know, does she like pineapple on pizza? She doesn't. Although in my Andy video, I answered this question, and Andy does like pineapple on pizza. And so Rory kind of, like, teases them and, like, it keeps on insisting that it's disgusting. And then Andy is, like, you know, being the passive person that they are, tries to, like, stand up for themselves, but doesn't. And it's just it's a thing that they do. And the last question, which I thought was just an absolute sweet question, what is Rory's? It's such a sweet question, isn't it? What is Rory's favorite piece of writing that Luca has done? Rory used to have a lot of like self-esteem issues when she was younger. Like the person that she is now is like pretty different to who she was when she was like an older child / early teenager. When she was like hella sad, Luca kind of wrote her a poem about like self-love, and then it's just something like it's meant like it just means so much to her, and it's to this day like her favorite like piece of literature in existence because she loves Luca, and like the fact that he did that for her shows that like he cares for her so much. And I love the twins. They're like some of my favorite characters and I love them. Bye. So yeah, that's it for this questions. That's not a proper sentence. So yeah, that's it for the questions. Again, I'm sorry if I couldn't answer. I really tried my best to kind of answer as many as I could. If there was a question that was there multiple times, I was sure to include it. Well, sure is maybe not the best word. I tried my hardest. Recording this audio, I tried to make it just a little bit shorter than my other videos, just because, like, I don't know how much you guys like hearing me geek out about my characters. Although we're going to see how that actually ended up in editing, because it could have easily just turned out as long as the other ones. But yeah, what did we learn today? We learned that if there's one word to describe Rory, it's protector. So, yeah, I hope you love Rory as much as I do. I wish I could get a little bit more in depth with, like, her character, but, you know, considering that the story isn't going to be out for a while and there's still some stuff I need to work on, it's probably best just to, like, just say the stuff that is 100% like concrete with her character. So, anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you like Rory, and even if you don't like Rory, like this video. My social media are on screen now, and the links for them are all in the description if you're ever curious about that. And then there's also a video on screen now and in the iCard for you to check out. I hoped that you enjoyed me rambling about my wonderful daughter, and I will see you next week.